Hello and welcome back. After a long time, I have made this video lesson. This is actually to help all my students. And I'm going to discuss in this the ICSC, as you can see in the background, ICSC Semester 1 examination specimen question paper I'm going to discuss. This paper is of 50 marks. So what am I going to do is, I'm going to not only discuss the paper and talk about the answers. I will also discuss the background details so that I can cover as much as I can. So I'm not going to waste much time because this video is going to be little long. So let's start. So as you can see, this is the paper I have, and on the side I have notepad so that I can give you some notes here. So the first question is, choose the correct answer. Which of the following are valid comments? Okay, you know how many types of comments are there in Java? 3. Okay, single line, right? This is a single line comment. Okay, this single line comment here, right? Then you have a multi-line comment. This is a multi-line comment, means you can write on several lines. And there is a third one also, which we rarely or we never discussed in class 9 and 10, even 11 and 12. And that's the documentation comment. Okay, it's like this. Okay, so to basically put some documents, there is a double star here. Okay, so that's what you have to keep in mind. So how many types of comments are there? 3. But what is the correct answer here? 1 and 3 or 1 and 2? This is correct and this is correct. So 1 and 3 is the correct answer. 1 and 3 is the correct answer. Okay, next question. Now, operators with higher precedence evaluated before, keep in mind broadly A are arithmetic operators first. Arithmetic will have unary, okay, binary, right? And then you have relational operator, right? Then you have logical, and then you have assignment. Okay, so this is the sorry order. In unary, you still have postfix, okay, then prefix, like that. Okay, and then you have usual ones. So what are unary operators? Unary operators, they work on one operand, like a plus plus or plus plus a, or a minus minus, minus minus a, like that, or minus a. Okay, we have that also, minus a. So these are basically unary operators. Why? Because they work on single operand. This is one operand. Okay, that's why they are unary. And then comes binary operators. So what are binary operators? Bi means 2, a plus b. Okay, a modulus b. These are binary operators. They work on two operands, if you can see that. A, okay, so that's how they are. And then comes relational operators, greater than, equal to. Okay, then greater than, or sorry, less than or equal to. Okay, then you have this double equals to. These are relational operators. Logical, and okay, then comes or, and then comes not. Okay, and then assignment operators, as you know, plus equals to, okay, equals to, then you have minus equals to, right, or you have multiplication equals to. They are also known as shorthand operators. Okay, so that's how these operators are. So let's see. Arrange the operators higher to lower. Whose precedence is higher, right? So you can see that this plus plus, so 4, okay, so you have 2 with 4, 3 with 4. So then they say this, well, no, first comes this, okay, then comes another arithmetic operator, modulus, okay, then comes relational operator, and then comes and. So what is the answer? This one, right? This is the answer. So that is the precedence of operators. Okay, which of the following keywords is used to create an instance of a class? So which is used to create an instance of a class. As you know, the definition of object. So that is an object. So how do you create an object? So as you know, we create an object with the help of the new. If I have to create an object Honda, so I'll say car, HONDA is equal to new, and then I'll say car here, right? So car is a class, Honda is the name of the object, new is the operator which makes memory available dynamically, because if there is no space then we cannot create an object. Car is the constructor. So which of the following keywords? New keyword. Okay, new keyword. Right, that's the answer. Now let's come to what is the final value of this. As you know, there are three types of these math class, four types of math class functions. They work on decimal values or floating point types. Okay, so we have math dot flor, okay, math dot ceil, okay, math dot rint, okay, then math dot round. Okay, so math floor, as you know, floor, like we walk on a floor. So niche, so the value is going to be less than the number. So if the number is this, the value will be less than this number. Math.ceil, the value is going to be higher than the number. Okay, rint, okay, it rounds off up to 4. Okay, not 5. And this, we do what we do in maths, right? It rounds off the way we do it in maths. Okay, and this is the only one that returns a value as integer. All the others will return double value. Okay, so what is the value? Let's have a look at it. So floor will give you, and see how they have written it. There is a function inside a function. That is allowed. We can do that. Okay, we can have a function inside a function, or a method inside a method, right? So a, the value is minus 835. What is the lesser value of minus 8.35? 9.0, because there is a minus there. Okay, so math.floor will bring it down, and math.abs, what does it do? It removes the minus sign. Okay, so it will remove any sign over there. So the value is going to be 9.0. Right, so now we come to this E. Name the type of error in the statement given below. Okay, so we have how many types of error? SYNTAX syntax. Okay, then we have run time, or it is also known as an exception. Okay, and then we have logical. So what is a syntactical error? When we make an error in syntax of a words, what does it mean? Like void is a keyword. Instead of writing void, I write VIOD. I made a mistake. Okay, or I have, say, public. I write public wrong. Okay, I write PUBLIC like that. So this is wrong. As you know, Java is a case sensitive language. Or maybe I forgot to put, I write SYSTEM dot out dot println, like something like this. So again, S has to be capital, right? These are syntactical error. Or I forgot to put a semicolon there, right? That is also a syntactical error. So those are syntactical error. Runtime errors, right? What happens? Like we try to divide a number by 0, or we are trying to access an index which is not available in an array or in a string. Okay, so index out of bounds, precision error. When we illegally try to store a bigger value like double in integer, we can't store, as you know. So those are runtime errors or exception. Or logical errors. It's like I had to add two numbers, right? Like this. But instead of putting plus, I am saying multiplication. And then I think the answer is going to be 20. So my logic is wrong. Okay. My logic is wrong. So this is what is known as a logical error. Okay. So what is the answer here? 100 upon 0. We are trying to divide this. So this is a runtime error. What error is this? Runtime error. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to the next one. And The next one is the allows a class to use its properties and methods of another class. Well, I told you inheritance. It's like you inherit features from your parents, I told you, okay, or you inherit wealth from your parents. So you can use your parents' wealth. The same way Java allows a superclass. A superclass is, like methods and variables to be used in a subclass. That is what is known as inheritance. So what is inheritance? When a subclass uses the properties or the methods or variables of a superclass, and which is the word I told you is used or depicts inheritance, extends. So it's like class A or class B, EXTE and DSA. So here class B is a subclass, class B is a subclass, and class A is a superclass. So class B extends A, which means the variables and the methods of A can be used by class B. Okay, so that's inheritance for you. Then you have encapsulation is also mentioned here. You know what is encapsulation? Wrapping up of objects and data into one single unit. I told you every program has that. Okay. And what is the use of it? So that the outside hindrance is not there and data is protected. Okay. Polymorphism is, I told you, many forms. So what happens is, like, what is the example of polymorphism? Method overloading. Many methods with same names but different parameters, right? This is compile time. Runtime is method overriding. Okay. So those are the two there. Now come back to this. The number of bytes occupied. First of all, keep in mind one thing. 1 byte equals to 8 bits. Normally we talk about bits, right? Okay. So that's how it is. Keep in mind that. So the number of bytes occupied by character data type is, how many? Bytes 2. Okay. Although the official website of Java says it is very difficult to ascertain the size of a character data type, but let's not get into that. Okay. So 2 bytes is equal to 16 bits, right? We normally remember bits. So when it comes to data types, two types of data types are there. Number one is primitive, number two composite. Primitive data types, 4 integer types, okay, 2 floating point types, double and float, boolean and character, okay, and then composite, the ones that are made from primitive data types. For example, arrays, string, class is a data type, okay, then you have interfaces, okay, so those are the composite data types. Next, the instance of a class. The instance of a class is object. Okay, that instance of a class is object. Okay, so that's the answer there. The are the words which have a special meaning. So 4 things are given there. Keywords, yeah, keywords. For example, void is a keyword. Okay, public is a keyword, static is a keyword. Okay, so these are some of the keywords. Class is a keyword, a string is a keyword. Okay, they have a special meaning in the language. Then comes identifier. So identifier are the names given by the programmers. Okay, like I write class and I write my, okay, this is the name I gave. Okay, so this is an identifier. The same thing we do, like we write, int sum is equal to 0. So sum is the name I gave it. Okay, so these are basically known as identifiers, the names that the programmers give to variables, method names, class names, etc. Okay, methods, you know what methods are. Okay, it's a program inside a program. Methods can return values. Methods can take parameters. Okay, package, as you know, you have ready-made packages and you can make your own package, but package is out of our syllabus, as you know. But we use scanner class package. Okay, and the most commonly used package in Java is java.lang. We don't even need to import it. Now let's come to this question. Okay, so you have here without a space is obviously next. These are the methods of scanner class. Scanner class methods are these. So next is, but in case if we have to use delimiters, you know what are delimiters? When we write a string and supposedly we have to write an address, so we do put comma or sometimes hyphen or sometimes maybe a semicolon. These are known as delimiters. Okay, space is also a delimiter. Okay, and in that case we use next line, but the right answer here is next. Okay, without a space. Let's go wrapper class. So what is a wrapper class? Wrapper class is actually used to convert an integer or a primitive data type into an object. That's what wrapper does. Supposedly this is a primitive data type. So I'll convert this into integer integer. I'll say here no number is equal to new integer integer. Okay, and I'll write here a. So what happens to a now? A has become an object, and what is its name? No. Okay, that is the name of this object. So that's how we can convert, you know, primitive data types. All primitive data types can be converted into object, and keep in mind this is going to be the capital letter, right? Like boolean, like this. Okay, so it will be capital double, right? Okay, so it will begin with a capital letter. So all 8 types can be converted, right? So that's how it is. This is your wrapper class. Okay, so you have boxing and auto boxing. Okay, where it's been taught to you, right? Intermediate code obtained after compilation is known as bytecode. Okay, and bytecode is the one that provides Java the much talk about, you know, like the feature that Java has. And what is that feature known as? That is known as portability, which means that a program, you know, like that you have written in on Windows can run on iOS easily. Okay, that is because of this bytecode. So there are 3 terms here. Source code, the program that you write is known as source code. Bytecode, you know, after compiling it, what you get is bytecode. Okay, object code is the machine code that machine understands. You know, like whatever you write in source code, Java or any computer, you know, will not understand that. So it has to be converted into machine code. Okay, so that's object code is machine code. Let's move to the next one. The method with the same name. Okay, we did it just now. I wrote this. Okay, you remember that. Okay, and I said new, and then I wrote this. So where is the constructor here? Here. Constructor name and this name is the same. Okay, is the same. So what is the answer? Constructor. That is the answer. Okay, and constructor cannot return a value, whereas a method can return a value. Okay, and constructor can take parameters like methods, but the main difference, these are the 2 main differences. Number 1, the name of constructor cannot be changed. It has to be the same name as class. Number 2, constructor cannot return a value. See, answer is constructor here. Now these 3 things are here. Okay, system.exit, break and stop. They have used a broad term construct. So there are 3 types of construct: sequence. Okay, then you have selection. Okay, and then you have iteration. Okay, sequence is like normally we write program one after the other. Then selection is when we use if statement to select something, if or switch case. And then we have iteration, loops. There are 3 loops in Java: for, while and do while. Okay, so those are the constructs. And break is actually used in iteration here, loops. Keep in mind, break can only be used with loops and, you know, like in switch case. Otherwise break cannot be used to stop, you know, like the execution of a construct. Then they have also used this term system.exit, and they have written 0 there. What does it mean? System.exit stops the execution of the program. That's what system.exit does. and 0 in that bracket means that the exit is successful. If there is 1 or any other number, which means that it is not successful. So this is system.exit. Now invoking a function by passing the objects of a class is termed as, okay, so invoking means calling. Invoking and calling is same, right? Invoking and calling is same. So there is no difference between the two, invoking and calling, right? So how many types of calling is there? Call by value and call by reference. So call by value, when we pass, value, like when I call obj dot maybe sum, okay, and I call this method by passing some values. That's how. So what am I passing? These are primitive data type. This is called by value. Okay, this is called by value. But if I have an array, okay, and this is my array, let's say, it has some values here, and arrays are objects, as you know. And if I pass the array here, right, like this is known as call by, that was called by value, this is called by reference. So reference to this array, I haven't passed the values physically, so reference to this array is passed here. Okay, this is called by reference. So passing object call by reference. Okay, keep in mind that call by reference. Now, what is the difference between the two? In call by value, what happens is when the value is passed and it is received by the formal parameters, if we make any changes to the formal parameters, the actual values are unaffected. Nothing happens to them. But in call by objects or call by reference, what happens is when we make a change, in the formal parameters, what happens then? Then the actual value gets affected. And that is the main difference between call by reference and call by value. Okay. So let's move now. Fourth question. Byte is a non-primitive data type. Is it? Wrong. Why? Byte is, as you know, byte short int long. So byte is a primitive type data type. 4 integer types are there. Okay. So byte short int long. Okay. Non-primitive, false. Now look at this question. Okay. Look at this question. What is this? Not. 2 is greater than 3 and 4 is greater than 6. Right? No. What is the outcome? Is 2 greater than 3? No. Is 4 greater than 6? No. Keep in mind there is an and, which means both conditions has to be true, then only it is going to be true, right? And if any one of them is, like just now, both are wrong. But if it is like this, even then it will return false. Okay, reason and, okay. So that's the answer. What is it? This is false, right? This is going to be 2 is not greater than 3. So what will it return? Reverse of that. So it is going to return true. Okay, keep in mind that's the difference. And then if we have or, means if any of these conditions, if this is the case, now this condition is true. So what will it return? False. Okay, because this is not, right? This will reverse the outcome. So be careful with or and. Or means any one, and means both. Okay, so true. Scope of logical variables, very good. Okay, local variables, there are 3 types of variables. Instance variables, okay. So if this is my class A, B, C, okay, and I declare a variable here, int A is equal to 0, and then I have a method here, sum, right, and I'll write here int p is equal to 10, okay, and then my method ends, class ends. Now which one is logical, which one is instance? Well, this is an instance variable, okay, and this is a local variable, right? Local variables are inside the methods. Instance variables are just after the class. We declare them, which means they are available from this bracket to this bracket. And no matter how many methods are there, okay, there can be a number of methods, right? but they will be available to all the methods. They will be available to all the methods, right? That is their scope. But when it comes to the local variable, like P is here, and I make another method here, total, right? And it's here. So if I say P plus plus here, what will happen? It will give me an error. Why? Because this variable is available from this bracket till this bracket inside the method. It is not available in another method. So that is the problem or that is the scope of local variable. Instance variable is available to the class. Okay. So three types of variables, right? So here scope of local variable is within a class. Wrong, false. The default statement is optional. Yes, it is optional. We can manage without the default. Same if statement, we can manage an if statement without an else statement. Okay, else is optional in if. And how many else's can come in an if? In one if you can only have one else. In one switch you can only have one default, right? You can't have two defaults. Okay, the assignment operator is left associative. Now keep in mind how to remember this. There are three operators, they are right to left. Unary, right, conditional, and assignment operators are right to left. All the others are left to right. So this is an assignment operator. It is false. It has to be right to left. It has to be right to left. Okay. So that's how you can remember that. Next, choose the odd one out. You can have a look at it. Encapsulation, data abstraction, and polymorphism are principles of OOPS. Whereas portable is, it's a feature of Java, right? That makes, like Java, you can write once and read lines like that. Okay. Next, odd one out, greater than this, and this. These are all relational operators, and this is a logical operator. So and. Return, break, continue, system.exit. As you know, there are three jump statements: return, break, and continue. System.exit is odd one out. Integer, double character, string. So these are integer, double character are, as you know, okay, string is not a data type. That too primitive. Now this is arithmetic, this is arithmetic, this is arithmetic, this is logical. Okay, so that's odd one out. Now let's have a look at this one now. Okay, this is surely one of these is going to come. So here, and let's write it 5. This is the best way to do it, this way. So 5 plus plus, okay, which means it remains 5, because when plus plus comes afterwards, which means first you use x and then add 1. So I've used now, okay, x, then comes plus plus x, which means I have used it once, so it became 6. 1 has come before 6, so 6 plus 1 is 7, okay, and then comes plus, then minus minus x. So this is before again, so it became 7. 7 minus 1 is 6, okay, and then plus 6. So what is the answer? 5 plus equals to 12 and 12, 24. 24 is equal to 29. So this 5 will also be added. 29 is the answer. So that's how we actually do it. Right? Up come here. Now A is greater than B. Okay. System.out.println. Now keep in mind there is no brace after this, which means that the first statement, because the semicolon here, will be with this if statement. So if this condition is true, then it is going to print this. If this condition is not true, then it is going to go to the next statement. So what happens is this condition true? No, because A is 5 and B is 7. So A is not greater than B, so this statement will not be executed. The statement that is going to be executed is this one. So it is going to print A into B, 5 into 7 is 35. Once again, there is no brace there, no brackets. So therefore, this statement is with this statement. If, okay. So if this condition is true, then this one. If the condition is not true, then this one. So in this case, it is this one, 35. Okay. Now come to this. This is a ternary operator, right? This is a ternary operator. And as I told you, if this condition is true, then it will perform the first one. If the condition is not true, then it is going to perform this one. So the condition is A is greater than or equal to 90. What is the value of A? 90. So is it greater than or equal to? Yes. Okay, greater than or equal to. So what is it going to print? Excellent. Okay, let's come to this one now, switch case. So what happens over here is, let's see the value of A, X. What is the value of X? Capital A, right? So case A, no. Case B, no. Case C, no. Then what will it print? Success, default. Okay, that is what it is going to print, success, because there is no capital A in any cases there, right? So what happens if, like this when is, let's say X is B. X is B. Okay, so when X is B, what happens then? So if X is B, so I go there, okay, right? So A, no, B, yes, it's going to print. But what if this X is a small a? If it is a small a, what happens then? So let's go there. X, the value of X is, let's say, X is equal to small a. So what happens then is, case A, it prints discipline, but keep in mind there is no break here. So fall through. It will come down, it will print dedication as well. And then it will break. Okay, because there is no break up there. This is to confuse you. Okay, so there is no break over there. Therefore, what is happening is, it is going to fall through. So it is going to print discipline, dedication, both. Just keep in mind that. Okay, that is fall through. Now let's come to this one. Now, if I take this one loop, there are 3 loops in Java. Okay, so that's how it is. What is the value of n? 1000. N is greater than 10. Yes, n is 1000. And then we say n is equal to n upon. So n is equal to 1000 upon 10. So what is the value now? N key. What is n's value? 100. So we are still in the loop. We go back. N is greater than 10. Yes, n is 100. Okay. And now we divide 100 by 10. So what is the value of n? 10. What is the value of n? 10 now. Go back. Is n greater than 10? No, n is 10. So the loop is going to stop. So how many times this loop works? Twice. This loop works twice. And what is the value of n? 10. Okay. So the loop is executed 2 times and the value of this is 10. Okay. So that's 10. So keep in mind, there are 3 loops. The main difference between do and do while is, this is an entry control loop. So as soon as you enter in the loop, the condition is checked. Whereas in do while, the condition is checked in the end. In for also, the condition is checked in the beginning. Okay, in the beginning, right? So this is entry control loop. Okay, whereas do while is the exit control loop. Okay, let's go back now. This is the 7th question. You have to read this question carefully. Okay, and we need to do that, right? It is very, very important that we do it. So there is this class called overload. Then print is a method that takes 1 parameter. Okay, natural numbers we have to print. Natural numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to n. Up to n. Okay. So we come here, we go there, right? And now let's start. There is another method, print. It takes 2 parameters. This is to find the multiple. Class A. What is the name of the class? Overload. That's the answer. Very simple it is. Then we come void print int and int k. So for loop. So what is going to be the for loop? The for loop is going to be for int k they have given here. K they have given here. So k is equal to 1. Natural numbers begin from 1. And then k is less than or equal to n. Okay, and k plus plus. Right? K plus plus. Okay, so starting point is 1, and whatever the value of n is, let's say 10. So it will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, let's move on to the next one. What is the next one? The next one is here. Okay, next one is here E. Okay, so INTM, INT, they mentioned here N. Okay, what is going to come here? N. If N upon M, okay, here, right here, here. Okay, so this, right, is 0. How do we find the multiple? If n is divisible by m and if the remainder is 0, then it is a multiple. If the remainder is 0, okay, so then it is a multiple, right? So return true, else return false. Now keep in mind, this is the return type of this method and its return type is Boolean, although they haven't asked us that question. Okay, so that's how it is. First is overload. Keep in mind, this is not the overload, this is the overload. Okay, k is equal to 1, first one, then k is less than or equal to n. The second one, then we have k plus plus, okay. Then we have intn that was mentioned. Then we have this one, okay. Now comes to the next question. Another similar type of question it is. I call them class base. So you have telephone there. This is the name of the class. Then there is a variable NOC. Okay, so that's how it is. Now let's move to the next one. Okay, so let's do this one. Now the following program is based on this. Let's move NOC, number of calls, double bill, okay, name of customer. So we'll do all that. Now let's move here. Void input is method to input the value, void print, okay, to print the details, void calculate to calculate the values. Okay, so that's how it is. Now let's see what are they asking. Again, void main to create the object. Okay, they have gone too far. Class name, you know what is the class name of this one? Telephone. Scanner. So what comes here? New. Okay. Now we have to input the number of calls. So which variable, what is going to come? It is integer value. If you see here, it is integer value. So next int. Okay. ob dot next int. Okay. Then comes here calculate. So the condition is very clear. If up to 100 is free. So if t is less than or equal to 100, if d is less than or equal to 100 here, if it is less than or equal to 100, then it is free. Up to 100 it is free. Okay. Else, what we are going to do? Else here we have to calculate the bill. And how are we going to calculate the bill? Okay, we are going to calculate the bill like this way. Why? Because up to 100, we have to subtract that. If my calls are, let's say, 250, so up to 100 calls are free. So I subtract 100 from there. What is left is 150. So 150 into this is going to be my bill. Okay, so that's why this option is going to come there, right? This option doesn't exist because this is wrong. Okay, and then comes here invoking the methods or calling the method. So two methods they've already written here that they have invoked, and the third one is t.calculate. Okay, t.calculate. So that's the third one, right? Let's come back to the last question, I think. And the last question here is the following program segment calculates the norm of a number. So the norm of a number is, like you multiply the digits with each other, then add the sum, and then get the square root of the number, right? So that is the norm of the number. Okay, so how do we do it? Okay, norm int n. So what is it going to be? Initial values we have to do, right? So DSA, they're going to be 0. Okay, they're going to be 0 because they're integer. We can't have 0.0, right? So what is the condition here? B, okay, n is greater than 0. Okay, n is greater than 0, then the loop will continue. Let me just copy this. Okay, so here n is greater than 0, then I'll come here, right? So I'll take the example, n is equal to, let's say, 68. Okay, so what is the value of d here? The value of d is, what is the value of d when you get the modulus? What is the modulus? 8. So what do I do here? C answer. It is going to be s plus, d into d. So square of d. So that is 8 into 8 is 64. What is the value? 64 now. Now we come here, n upon 10. Okay, so if I say here, what is the value of n now? What is the quotient? Quotient is 6. So we go back up there. N is greater than 0. Yes, n is 6. So 6 upon 10. What is the remainder? 6. What is the remainder? 6. Okay, so now 64 is already there, plus 6 into 6 is 36. Okay, so what is the sum? 100. Okay, but anyway, now here 6 upon 10 is 0, quotient is 0. Go back, n is greater than 0. No, n is 0. Okay, so the program terminates here. Okay, program terminates here. And what are we going to do here? We have to get the square root. We have to get the square root. So math.sqrts, math.sqrts as sum. Okay, here, the square root of this value. So math.sqrt, and that's how we get the answer. That's how we get the answer. Okay. Now, the last question is here. They have written everything here. These are some definitions in a way. So what are the decision control statements in Java? If and switch, okay, decision making. An if statement inside another if is nested if, as you know. You can have nested loops also, a loop inside a loop. Name given for a repetitive execution. It can be iterative also, right? So that is what is known as looping, right? Does not execute even once. Which one? You see what it says? It starts from 1 and it goes up to 100 by adding 1 every time. So it will go 100 times. Then we have k is equal to 10, k is less than or equal to I, k plus plus. Now if you look at this, it's saying k is 10 and the condition says continue as long as k is less than 1. K is already 10. So this loop will not work even once. Okay? Whereas this one is saying k is equal to 1, k is greater than or equal to 1. So once this loop is going to work. But this loop will not even work once. Okay? So that's the correct answer. The same question can be asked with while loop as well. Okay? So same thing can be done with while also. Right? So writing it a little tricky, but anyway, we can do that with while as well. So this was your paper. I tried to cover most of the terms. Okay, like attribute. What is attribute? State, behavior, or sometimes property, identity rather. Okay, So what is attribute? Attribute of a class? Attribute of a class is depicted by the variables. Okay, right? And state, again, the values that the variables hold, or the variables. Okay, behavior by methods. Okay, okay, of an object, right? So variable, values that the variables hold, variables. Then you have identity, is the name of a object or a class, right? So these are some of the terms that you can keep in mind. Okay, attribute, like variables. Okay, like if you say there is a car, Honda, and then car has, like color and number of wheels and things and all, those could be the attributes or state. Behavior is like it like driving, comforts, turning. Okay, and those are the methods that you can use, like for behavior. Okay, identity, the name of the car. Okay, so these are some of the terms that you can use or they can ask. Okay, so just keep in mind that I tried to cover everything in this video. This video has become little long, but that's how it is. And I'm sure this is going to help you. So all the best for your examination. Revise everything thoroughly and all the best.